Hi.
Hello. There you are. Yeah. I've got it started recording and I'm just gonna leave it go and chop stuff out later because otherwise I'm gonna forget. You're
Oh,
muted.
you are very quiet.
Does it help if I talk into it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't know how to turn it up. Yeah. Um, well, I wanted to share with you about my conversation with no, I had a check-in with Surrey Space and Planning Council. It's
hmm
just like a virtual site visit, see how things are going with Shelby and everything. So I told Brizelda that we want to do something with the Vista position related to
hmm
farmers markets. And I explained how we had this farmers market internship program that's no longer funded. And we were hoping we could try to use the Vista to continue to provide support for farmers markets, but we were trying to figure out how One Vista could still support multiple markets.
hmm
And like, you can provide training for the managers, but that doesn't change the fact that they still don't have any time. And Brizelda, this was Brizelda's idea. She said, well, what if you had a Vista member who was coordinating a farmer's market program, and then the markets had AmeriCorps state slots. So instead of interns, they're AmeriCorps members. And the Vista could be coordinating the program, building it up, using the curriculum that we created and just adapting it for new needs. And she said, the lowest AmeriCorps state slot is 300 hours, which is about what the farmers market interns did last year.
hmm
Most of them, the was it Jenna and the Kayas and those those ones.
hmm
So I said, I like that idea because it's kind of in line with what we were daydreaming about, like
hmm
creating a local food corps program. We'd have to figure out how there's still that match, but at 300 hours, the match is about $1,200. So
hmm
maybe we could help the markets come up with the match somehow. Like if the market came up with part of it, we could match their match or something, and maybe we could find some sponsors. I thought at this point in the season, it would make sense to just start small, like maybe two markets, two AmeriCorps state members at two markets with One Vista who's like using it as a pilot and kind of building it out. Yeah, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that sounds really good. I wonder if like what markets are going to be able and willing to host an AmeriCorps because we made it so easy
Mm.
with the internship program, so easy for them. Um, they might just be like, that seems like too much.
Well, I'm
I don't know.
thinking the Vista position, which who would be our staffer,
Yeah.
would be doing the same things that you did as the farmers market
hmm
internship program coordinator to make it easy for the markets. Um, the market would still have to identify a market manager who would be the supervisor for the AmeriCorps member. So that is true. But
And
yeah,
the other thing I thought of is, doesn't Bismarck already have an AmeriCorps member for
yep.
this season? So
Mm-hmm.
that could, like, they might be willing to do a pilot
Mhm.
program with us and kind of see how it works and what, like, just kind of see what the needs are, how it kind of how it all works out. But that
Yeah,
would be a really cool program if we could coordinate a bunch of AmeriCorps positions at farmers markets.
Karen and Shelby. So I was at the local food conference with Karen. I was sitting at a table with Karen, Shelby, Ann Olson, and Elizabeth
Hmm.
Ledoux, who was Karen's market manager,
Hmm.
all from Minot Farmers Market. And they were talking about how some of the current board members are kind of ghosting, like they're just, don't come to meetings and stuff. But Karen seemed pretty interested in maybe doing some managerial roles, and Shelby seems interested in still being engaged. Like they both still feel invested. And then of
Hmm.
course Elizabeth and Anne. So if we're feeling like pursuing this, I might talk with them if they
Hmm.
want an AmeriCorps member.
I think that might be a good place to start. Also, I don't know if it really makes a difference, but that's where like a lot of the AmeriCorps
Mhm.
stuff is based, so it might be a good first place to try it.
And maybe they'd be willing to share an AmeriCorps member between Minot Farmers Market and North Prairie.
Mm.
I mean, I don't think it's complete animosity between those two farmers markets. Like I was hearing Anne or Elizabeth or somebody saying like, well, we talk to them and we have our markets on different days and stuff. Like I think there might be some willingness to coordinate there.
Mhm.
I don't know. Um, so yeah. Um, and then the Vista position is a full 12 months.
Mhm.
So they were asking, well, what do you think the Vista could do outside of the market season during the rest of their
Mhm.
time? And I said, well, what about farm to school? We see a need for
Yeah.
farm to school coordination.
I I do think there's
Hello,
enough
Davis speaking.
for the
I'm good. How are you doing? I don't have the Davis partnership, but I have the other ones for the account. Yep.
I think he's on the phone.
yeah.
Okay. I was trying to figure out what was wrong with the audio, that other person was so faint. And then I figured out they're not in our Zoom room.
Um I was gonna say I I do think that someone could be working on farmers markets all year round.
Oh,
Like I don't want to put too much in the Vista position.
mm-hmm.
Because I think that they could be helping out with webinars or doing some sort of education, like we talked about, do
Yes.
that education for the market managers in the winter time and then manage the AmeriCorps state members in the summertime. Or
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's plenty of farmers market related because I know we are I want a farm to school person, but I think they should only be doing farm to school.
Yeah,
I think it's two different positions.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And having a Vista member helping with webinars in the winter, like for you to be doing farm beginnings and a monthly webinar all
Mm.
year, it's a bit much.
And I think, yeah, webinars are really good for someone who's maybe only in the role for a year because you don't want to just give that person, Farm Beginnings. But yeah, like a short webinar series or, you know, single topic webinars are, I think, really good for someone who is in the world for a shorter time.
Yeah. Okay, just wanted to run that by you. Hi, Janelle. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Steph, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm glad you could join us this month. Are you getting plants started?
I've got a lot started. I was just trying to move snow to get into my greenhouse and get it out of my Quonset
Oh,
because I need more natural sunlight than fake light.
yeah. Do you do a CSA?
I haven't done a lot. I offer it, but I don't have a lot of people that do it in this area.
I would love to participate in a CSA, and I think you're about the closest one to me in Botno.
Okay.
Because I just like that, like, box of vegetables every week, and then I figure out what I'm going to cook with what I've got, rather than trying to remember to get up and go to the farmer's market on a Saturday morning.
Yep. No, we can definitely keep in touch on that.
Okay, yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Because what, you're like 30 miles, you're over by Rolette, right?
Yep. I think right from Rolette to Botno is like 40 miles maybe.
Yeah.
But I have a sister that lives in Dunseith, so, I could send it with her and you could meet her in Dunseith and save
Yeah,
you and me some miles.
that would be awesome. That would be really great. We just did a CSA list, like where to find a CSA, in our last newsletter.
Uh-huh.
Shelby, our communications coordinator, went through and made a list of CSAs. Let me see if you're on there. I've got way too many tabs open. Oh, here we go. Oh, yep, you are. Rustic Acres.
Okay.
Yeah. How's everything going with you, Bill?
Hi, Stephanie. It's going okay. Gonna have some, I hope it's minor surgery on my stomach, but other than that is going well. Just staying real busy with the refinery project and trying to figure out what my next move is on the Envig oils. So spent a little time. I got to meet my new 9-year-old granddaughter in Florida, so I had a good time down there. So, and yourself?
Yeah, staying busy. We spent, Robert and I spent the month of February in California with friends, and now we are here in balmy Mandan, staying with my aunt.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she had shoulder replacement surgery on the 2nd, and so we've been just helping out as she recovers, because you can't move that shoulder. So,
what part of the city does she live in?
Over by Raging Rivers Water Park.
Oh yeah, that's
that
right.
Kind of those condos and stuff. Lexi Loop.
Yeah, not far. That's not too far from where I'm at.
Okay.
Down on the. Yeah, good. Yeah. How long are you gonna be here for?
Till the 20th.
Okay.
So.
Like what, Sunday?
Yeah, probably.
Then you can come over here and take care of me after the 22nd.
just gonna stay in Mandan indefinitely.
Yes.
But it
How's
does,
your, go ahead.
well, I
Sorry.
was just gonna say, it provides opportunities to meet face to face with people I don't normally get to meet with, so.
Okay.
That's good.
And your folks?
Oh, they're fine.
Good.
They're just
They went okay.
hibernating for the winter.
Yeah.
they- Yeah, go for
Well-
walks every day.
Very good. Well, we'll get up there one of these days. We can rendezvous up there for
Well,
see Julia. They haven't been.
you won't, she's closed the cafe and she's selling it.
Oh, she's selling it too, huh?
Yeah. they
Oh, that's
put it
too
up
bad.
as- Yeah. It is too bad. So, we can still rendezvous, but I guess we won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
at the
Oh, with
food
Connie's.
club.
So they're gonna stay though. They're not moving or anything, are they?
Oh, yeah, they're gonna stay, they've got they're still farming.
Farm. Yep.
And, I talked with Mirek the other day and he's hoping to put up a deep winter greenhouse and,
Cool.
yeah,
Too much work with the restaurant, huh?
I think it just wasn't generating the sort of income that it needed to support itself.
S-
So. Jody, I'm so glad you could join us today.
Be here. Thank you.
I put the strategic planning session on the agenda, so I'm glad you're here to share in person from your perspective as well. And how is everything in Grand Forks, Craig?
It's okay. We're on spring break, but I'm not getting much of a break. So,
Oh, that's
but
true.
at least it's, it's, I mean, it's almost beach weather. It's 38 over here. So, yeah.
I don't know what it is here in Mandan, but it sure felt like it was in the 60s or it felt like it was almost 70 in the sun. I might
Yeah.
be, over exaggerating because once you've gone through North Dakota winter, 20 feels balmy, but
Right. Yeah. I'm expecting the kids to come back from spring break in shorts and, all that stuff and ready to go. Though I'm worried nature's is setting a trap. So,
probably have a blizzard tomorrow.
yeah.
Do you ever, I think I just saw something in the mail about the UND Writers Conference coming
Mhm.
up soon. Do you ever go to that?
I haven't. The last year it was in person. I taught when the stuff I was interested in was going on, and yeah, I haven't made the time the last couple of years. They get some big authors here sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's good. Oh, before I forget, Rob said he's gonna try and stop by from Home of Economy, but I know they're doing it. There's stores closed here for inventory, so I don't know if he's busy with that, but he said he'd try and pop in for a little bit.
That's just great. Well, it is 2:00, so let's kick off our meeting. And this month, due to a combination of things, we didn't manage to get any speakers lined up because we don't have any staff right now, and Felicity and I are busy doing our first jobs. But it's also at a time, it's March, everybody's getting ready for the upcoming growing season. We just had our local food conference. We just had a farm to school event. The DCB held a webinar this morning. So I thought the best use of our time today would be just kind of updates on some of the things that have been going on, reports out on what those of us who attended the local food conference learned, or what we're inspired to do, what we're thinking about for the upcoming growing season. And then, of course, talking about our upcoming strategic planning process. So why don't we start with introductions, and please share your name and organization, and what you are doing to prepare for spring. So I am Stephanie Bloomhagen. I'm the Executive Director for Farms and the Board Chair for the North Dakota Local Food Development Alliance. I'm joining from Mandan today, and I haven't had it. We've been on the road since the beginning of February, so I haven't had a chance to get any of my plants started or anything. I'm kind of anxious for that, but we did. My birthday present was a new fat bike, and that is waiting for me at the bike shop in Grand Forks. So I guess that's preparation for spring and summer, and some fun rides to come. How about Anne?
Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Olson from Hilltop Farm in Des Lacs. I'm also a local food.
Did we lose your audio? Ann, I'm going to move on to Craig, and when your audio starts working again, we'll give you another chance.
Hey, hi, Craig Burns. I'm a professor of social work at UND in Grand Forks, and also vice chair of the NDLFDA, got it, board, and am also on the board, vice president of the board for Wanawota, which is a nonprofit out of Devil's Lake that works on food insecurity.
How are you getting ready for spring?
Oh, spring. See, exactly. Yeah. Nothing yet. Nothing yet.
We're still not sure if it's actually coming.
Well, that, and just I haven't had the any availability in my brain to focus on much else. Yeah.
How about you, Bill?
Well, good afternoon, Bill Davis. I'm a retired USDA employee, but I still do some small micro farming and some consulting. And what I do for what I started to do for spring for planting is I went out to my garden, which is about 10 miles from where I'm at, and checked on things. Everything looks good. One of my buildings, the door was frozen, so I couldn't open that. And so I went to my other location, and it was easy accessible. However, when I started to organize some of the pails, some of the things that are on the ground, which is literally ground, were still frozen to the ground. So I didn't get much accomplished, but at least I see that I didn't have any problems over the winter because some of the space that I store stuff in has sometimes the snow is able to blow in there. So everything looked good.
Thanks, Bill. How about Felicity?
I am Felicity Merritt. I'm calling in from Fargo. I'm the program manager at Farms, and I feel like I'm in a similar boat. I haven't quite started preparing for spring yet. I'm very mentally prepared for spring, but I start any plants I'm gonna go grow way too early in anticipation, and then I can't put them out inside and they end up dying. So I'm waiting, and I'm like, I know I want to start plants right now, but I just can't yet. So I'm mentally preparing for spring, although I don't know if I've taken any physical steps.
Janelle.
Hi, I'm Janelle Anderson from Rustic Acres out of Rolette, North Dakota. I'm a board member of the North Dakota Farmers Market and Growers Association. I am definitely like Felicity, and I start plants too early, but not gonna lie, I'm probably sitting on over 12,000 plants started already, and I'm trying to bust my way into my greenhouse. So I'm ready. When I walked into the greenhouse and it's 85 degrees out there, and my plants would definitely be doing better with natural sunlight than the fake lights that I'm using, but I gotta go. We got a lot of snow to move to get to it, to get a vehicle to get all the things transported, because we're only sitting at about 40 degrees right now. So, but they're saying we're going to see 50 by the weekend. So
Wow.
I got my fingers crossed.
Oh, thank you so much, Janelle. And that's making me think maybe at farms we should do some kind of series about how farmers are getting ready.
I need a lot of snow to melt because I got the top off of a tunnel yet.
Ooh. Anne, would you like to try again? See if your audio is working.
Yes, does that sound better?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, yeah, I've been having some network issues lately. So Ann Olson from Hilltop Farm near Des Lacs. I'm the Northwest rep for one of the Northwest reps for Farmers Market and Growers, and local foods coordinator for Strengthen ND. And yeah, we're starting to have some farmers market conversations. Way behind on my preparation for my own garden, but the nice weather sure feels good this week. So really enjoying that.
Absolutely. And Rob Pearson, glad you could join us today. We're sharing our name and organization and how we're preparing for spring.
Yes, I did. Okay. Hi, sorry about that. I had two different layers of mute going on. I mean, you really couldn't hear me. I got it fixed now, so it seems like y'all can. Hi, my name is Robert Pearson. I am the IT manager with Home of Economy. Home office is headquartered out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. I tend to work remote more than most. We're doing a couple of things to get ready for spring, both privately and then also professionally. Privately, I just put another batch of baby chickens on order, and I've been looking at plans for some additional flower boxes, because my old flower boxes the flower boxes that came with our farm are in kind of rough shape, and so I need to take some responsibility and build them up. Professionally, we just finished up a couple of weeks ago. We were last year, when I attended these meetings, I had made mention that we were trying to host our, among other farming initiatives, we were trying to host our own directory of farmers who would like to connect with local consumers, so that try to help out with that. Our website had needed some real updates, and we actually just got done with that. So now we have I don't have hardly anybody in the farmers market directory on our site. It sure is a lot prettier. So now I'm trying to get myself situated at work that I can start reaching out to some of the folks that we have around and offering them space, or donating the space on the new site, on the new much prettier site, and that's the first of many things we're going to do. But
Great. And once our meeting starts, let's talk about local food directories and maybe some collaborations. And Jody, I think you're the last one on the list.
Good afternoon, Jody Bruins, NDSU Extension. I am located in Oaks today, and I wish we had less snow right now. So it's going to be a bit before we do any digging in the dirt, but I did buy flower seeds last weekend. So getting antsy.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody. Claire Lostutter is our secretary and she usually takes minutes, but she is driving and preparing for a class, so she's unable to join us. So instead, I am recording today's session and we will have somebody create minutes from the recording later. Back to our agenda. So as I said, planning to use today's time for just updates and discussion, you know, planting some new ideas and looking at how we can work together in the coming year. So first off, I want to let everybody know that we are participating in a learning community on state food system plans and charters. This is led by Michigan State University's Center for Regional Food Systems, and it was funded by North Central SARE Professional Development Program grant. And they are convening a representative from each of 11 states in the North Central region. So that's North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, and if Illinois is in our region. And so there's a representative and a secondary, a second from each state, as well as anybody else that wants to participate. And we're each kind of sharing how we are developing food policy councils, food system charters, and food systems coalitions in each state. And we just had our first planning session earlier this week. So we haven't gotten real far yet. And Anne was on that session with me as well, if you wanted to share anything from that, Anne.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the project as you are, but I was sitting on there for Megan, but I think that, you know, it looks like North Dakota with this group is making really good progress towards a plan. And I think the steps are in place and hopefully that'll just help with some more guidance going forward. So it's nice to see other states doing it as well.
I think the thing that struck me most from that meeting was I've always kind of assumed that other states are so much further than we are in building their local food systems and creating plans and setting up a policy council or a charter, but that's not the case. A lot of the others from Nebraska and South Dakota and even Illinois and some of the other states were saying, you know, well, we've got some people together, we're meeting, but we not as far as we'd like to be. We don't have a charter yet. So I was, I guess, encouraged by the fact that we're not so far off base. We're right on par with other states, and we have this group to share best practices and bounce ideas off each other. So as the group meets, I will bring back to NDLFDA what we learn, what new resources we discover. And so more to come about that. I also wanted to share with the group that our board has decided it's time to do some strategic planning. This likely won't surprise any of you who've been attending these meetings. We applied for a USDA Regional Food Systems Partnership grant last fall and did not succeed in getting that grant. And part of that was we decided that it wasn't entirely clear what the USDA's reasoning was, but it became clear to us that we didn't have a clear enough mission and direction, or at least we haven't articulated it in a way that makes sense to, say, funders and others who might want to join us. So, and I think that's very normal. We've had a lot of growth in the past few years. I'm really excited about the engagement that we have at our meetings now, and the energy that I see that people want to help build the local food system in our state. And so it's time to come together and do some strategic planning. So I reached out to Jody Bruns at NDSU Extension. Jody has agreed to do a strategic planning session with us. We settled on April 11th, a 4-hour session from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I haven't secured a location yet, but we are thinking we'd like to do it in Carrington, because that's what I said was equally inconvenient for everyone. It's not the most convenient for any one person, but it's about 2 hours for pretty much everyone that would want to participate. So the 7 members of the board of directors will participate in this. And then Jody said that it's ideal, we can do our best work with about 15 to 20 people in the room. And so as a board, we are inviting an additional up to 13 people to participate in this session. We are looking at those who are most likely, those who most want to participate and engage. We are trying to prioritize farmer voices and Native American voices, because those are 2 groups that are critical to our food system here and have been, areas that keep coming up in our discussions and our work. And trying to have diverse voices at the table. And even though we can't have absolutely everyone in the room, we will find ways to, if you aren't able to participate in the strategic planning session, we will still find a way for your voice to be heard, to, give you an opportunity to share your ideas. Jody, what would you like to share about this process?
I'm just looking at my notes from our call the other day, and I guess a couple things that come to mind are, I had a suggested meeting for 4 hours, and certainly not meet to meet. If we're done, we're done. But we talked about maybe doing a little history lesson, looking back at the mission, some shared values, perhaps just taking a quick look at the bylaws, revisiting some of those things. So I think it's always good to know where you've been, and not get hung up on that, but use it as a guide for where we will be going. And I think, of course, I'll work with whomever shows up. It just gets really, gets kind of muddy when we get a room full of people to do planning. That doesn't mean other people won't be included if they have something they have to or would like to offer, by all means. But more than 20 people, we're going to need more time and maybe another facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
So, but certainly we will make it transparent. That's my hope. I think that's really important, and open to public comment.
And as I've been thinking about who should be there, I keep kind of stumbling in my mind over the difference between deciding a mission for how we work together as an organization versus deciding what the state needs in terms of building a local food system. So I'm hoping, so I just wanted to ask you right now and provide some clarity. I'm assuming that this strategic planning process is about how do we as NDLFDA work together? Like what do we form committees, or do we, how do we work together, as opposed to discussions about what does the state need to build a local food system? I mean, that's part of the discussion, but we're not necessarily building a strategic plan for the entire state's food system. We're creating a strategic plan for NDLFDA. Is that accurate?
Question for me or for your group?
Both.
Yeah, that sounds like what we discussed, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes groups, when they work on strategic plans, I think it can easily get so big, and you want to solve all of the world's problems, and then pretty soon you're defeated and wonder why we can't check anything off in the box, right? So, I mean, I think it's important to have great big goals and dreams. By all means, I think that's important. But we can't lose sight of what's right in front of your group too, and what are the most pressing and pertinent issues facing the local foods industry.
Definitely. What questions does the group have about this strategic planning process?
I have a comment that's only kind of related, and that is if you meet in Carrington, the new Cows and Co. Creamery has a new space that would be really, really fun to meet in. That's all. It's my comment.
Okay.
So I can't think of any questions right now. You put me on the spot here, Stefan. So I'm just kidding. But since we have Rob here, I don't know if it would be good to have Rob involved in whatever way he can. As you know, I mean, the farmers market they did last summer was fun, was great for the first year, and so to have that corporate input too might be useful. Not to commit you, Rob, but in whatever way he can participate, right?
Oh God, I apologize again. I pushed mute on the one thing that actually turned mute on. I'm going to struggle with it. I think until the call's over. No, I'm happy to talk about how we did. Actually, I had a kind of a nice conversation with another gentleman here not too long ago, kind of on the same stuff. So, and it was just kind of just said here, it's just like, it really depends on what we gauge as success. I mean, so if we take success as being, last year we had a farmer's market going and we had people stop on by, and we had some customers come on by, and we got some nice comments. That was, it was everything last year was I'd characterize it as moderate success. We had the thing. It was, we definitely thought that it was worthwhile. Just in that it met those goals of getting us to do something more with the local food stuff, connections. I tell you what, I'm having just a heck of a time today with words. Some days I feel quite a bit more erudite than others. Today I'm just stumbling over myself. So what do you do? We had some challenges too. Stuff that actually, and so the website was getting into that. One of the big ones that we saw and that I tried to work around last year, and it's something that continues to be valuable, but it's definitely double-edged. It definitely hurt a little bit too, is when we were talking to folks around the area and hearing from people who had tried to go to some of the existing farmers market, they said, I'd love to go to that farmers market, but hey, I'm just busy on Saturday. I'm just so busy on the weekends. Like, okay, well, that's not a problem. The other one though, the one that we, the other one that was, the Saturday thing, fine. So we're having ours on Wednesday or Thursday, maybe Thursday this year. We'll find out. The other one we heard though is that, the requirements, because in Grand Forks, the farmers market is in a very particular spot. They have to have, they need to be, just as a matter of being able to organize the thing at all, it needs to be very regimented. It needs to be run very structured, so, you show up at a very specific time. If you don't show up, then you're late, you lose your spot, just kind of all that stuff. So we really wanted, when we heard that, we really, we have almost no need for any form of rule, like keeping rules like that. So we thought, oh, okay, well, let's not, we'll let people show on up. The downside that we found was that it got to be very, very difficult getting people to then, giving the farmers, said, hey, we will take care of this advertising for you. That's no problem, but we need something to be able to advertise in the first place. And so giving them this ultimate flexibility of, hey, just let me know when you're going to be here this week. God, it got just so difficult getting anyone to respond back. There were quite a few weeks where I put the question out there and I wouldn't get a one. So then you pick up the phone and you start calling people, and I find 4 or 5 people that are going to be there and say, oh yeah, okay, so we have enough to at least go advertise, and if anybody else shows up, that's wonderful. And they did, and we had lots of people show up that just by virtue of us having hang on just a moment, folks. Okay, sorry, I get getting called out of the waiting room here, so I'll have to be a little bit quick, which is just as well anyway. But it's just getting people to commit and really keep the time, so we had something to advertise in the first place. That was a bit tricky. So what I'm hoping to do this year is, with the website redone, I'm going to try to get people to sort of pre-commit. Again, we have, we're not charging for this. We're very happy to donate the space. We just want to be able to properly set expectations for the consumers that are in the community. So we say, go to who can I pick on? I can go pick on Tim Szymanski, who was one of the main guys who was there with he's there with grass-fed pork and beef and that, and say, hey Tim, are you going to be here every week on Tuesday, or every week on Wednesday at 4? You're going to show up at 4, or are you going to show up at 3? What are your hours? And then, just instead of having that just be Facebook posts that we're using to promote that, we'll actually link the Facebook posts back to a schedule page on our website, something that just doesn't change as freely. And we're hoping that, having that little bit more commitment that they put in, that'll be enough to get people to, stick with it, right? It's tricky, we're trying to take just such a light touch there, but at the same time, if it gets too close to free, turns very quickly into without value, which turns very quickly into worthless. And so, because we're never going to charge, I'm trying to find a way to break that sequence from free, meaning, oh, okay, just don't worry about telling anyone what you're doing. Like, no, tell folks, please. But lots of stuff that we learned this year, lots of stuff that we know that we have to go and do better the next time. So.
And who else in town are you partnering with on this?
Pretty much any farmers that we could find. I have been talking with the folks that run the Grand Forks, the Grand Forks Farmers Market as well. And we have very nice conversations, but nothing really goes too terribly far of anywhere. Well, and specifically, rather than just talking in generics, Craig, who's on this call here in Grand Forks, Craig. Got to meet him a couple of times. I'm not sure that answers the question, but that's the first thing that springs to mind to try to answer it.
Sure. Well, before we move on to the next topic, does anybody have questions for Rob or Craig about local foods in the Grand Forks area?
Rob, I know you said you had to get going, so if you want to, we can certainly invite you back.
No, I'm
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Okay,
The thing is so I'm at the therapy office for my daughter.
all right.
I think I was telling you about her before, Craig. She's
Yes, yeah.
with Down syndrome and just has a little bit extra going on.
Mhm.
And right around here is kind of when she and it has actually happened right now. This is when we start having to try to do handoffs between the various sessions. So I'm gonna have to go change a diaper here, but I can keep listening.
Okay, all right. Okay, thanks.
Well, we also have updates on our agenda
Okay.
on several other topics. And both Anne and Janelle are here from the board of the North Dakota Farmers Market and Growers Association. And we just had our annual North Dakota Local Food Conference, and you guys just had your annual meeting. I think you have a new interim director. So I was hoping that, Anne just put in the chat box that she was hopping up for just a few minutes. So maybe if you don't mind, Janelle, we'll move that back a few minutes until Anne gets back. So yeah, most of the people that I was hoping could provide updates weren't able to join us today. So I will do my best. So what did I have next? I had Department of Ag and the local food conference. So I asked Christine for an update, and she said she was happy with the conference turnout and received good feedback for next year. And if anyone has ideas that they'd like for sessions next year, we are happy to hear them. Is anybody else on the call someone who is present at that conference?
Wait, can you say that again? I'm sorry, I stopped paying attention for a little bit.
So I was only able to attend a couple hours of the local food conference.
Okay,
Did
I didn't
anybody
attend it all.
else- Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, were you able to be there? Well,
No, I wasn't. Unfortunately, I wanted to go, but I wasn't feeling well. So I wasn't able to attend.
well, I can report out on the sessions I did attend, which were Claire Lowstutter's Farm to School session. Claire presented about the recent Farm to School efforts and the webinars that we just had. And then she had Rhonda Amundsen from DPI co-present with her. It was really well attended and well received. There were a lot of great comments from farmers, a lot of good interest. And one thing that stuck out was that Rhonda mentioned that there were some COVID response dollars that have recently been allocated to school districts, where school districts each get $5,000 per school district plus $12 per student for food service programs. And they are required to purchase domestic product, so food from within the United States, which doesn't always necessarily mean local, but this is a great opportunity for schools to purchase local.
Stephanie, I know you told me about this before, but I want to write this down correctly. So 5,000 additional dollars for domestic, and then $10 per student, did you say?
12 per student.
Per day or per month?
student.
Just one-time payment.
One-time payment. It's like a grant. They have to keep track of how they spend the funds and report back to DPI And I believe that if they don't spend all of the funds, they have to give them back.
Thank you for the clarification.
The other great session I attended was Jan Stankiewicz talking about the SNAP Double Up Bucks program. And she's had several farmers markets participating in this. So farmers markets can take SNAP, and then through the Double Up Bucks, I believe their SNAP purchases are doubled. Karen, do you have knowledge of this program? It should popped up on my screen for some reason. So that's been a great program. I think the grant that they were working under is done, but they are, I believe, are still continuing to offer SNAP to farmers markets and some support. And I know some, like Bismarck, for example, is recruiting an AmeriCorps member who will help with SNAP coordination for their market. So some good things happening. I also saw from Department of Ag this morning a Facebook post about the Beef to School project. IBAND, the Independent Beef Association of North Dakota, has recently made a large donation of beef to local schools, and there were quite a few news articles about that. And it looks like Department of Ag was partnering with them on maybe a video to further that project, for help make it easier for beef producers to market to local schools. So is Anne back by chance? Okay. Well, it looks like Quinn has joined us, and I was going to have Quinn give an update both on his on the webinar that was held this morning, and an update on the USDA AMS Farmers Market Promotion Program grant that is wrapping up. And if you have anything to share about the local food conference as well, Quinn, I'd be happy to hear your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. Hey, everybody. It's Quinn Renfant coming to you from the Entrepreneur Center for Horticulture. This morning, we just closed out the last activity for the grant that Stephanie mentioned, our Farmers Market Promotional Program grant that we received back in 2018 in partnership with farms, the North Dakota Department of Agriculture, and the North Dakota Farmers Market and Growers Association. Anyways, we went through and did the program. I think it was a great success overall. I think the internship program in particular that was facilitated by farms was probably the biggest success, and the thing that we got the most feedback on from participants. Looking to the future, we've had a lot of feedback on that particular program and how we could, better structure it. And I mean, that all comes down to funding and all those fun things. So would love to have more conversation on that at some other time. Today's webinar, we kind of just focused on the underlying assumption that if we were to have more involvement from people beyond the market itself, that we may be able to have a more successful farmers market scene across North Dakota. And so the approach was having Dr. Becca Jablonski from Colorado State University. She is a local food economist of the Extension Center they have there. And she has done various works. She's done various works on local food economics and research, specifically with farmers markets in the Colorado area, and kind of spotlighted some of the tools that they've used over the past about 7 years to kind of gauge the economic impact and activity that's happening around the farmers market. And my goal is to connect that with Simone Y from Folkways and her perspective of developing a farmer's market from a community development function and a real estate investment approach, and kind of paint the picture that although farmers markets are about vendors, vendors themselves may not be the best to lead and access the full functionality of what a farmer's market can do. And approaching it from an economic argument is my first step towards bringing more people to the table and moving into the next phase of how do we enrich the culture that's happening, and how do we utilize the existing resources that are out there to kind of bring a more full circle picture to the needs of vendors and communities across North Dakota. And so that was pretty much the sum of the workshop and webinar. We also had Jonathan Moser on there, give him a shout out. I know he's talked on these calls before, and he kind of gave more of a frontline perspective. But all in all, I think if we're going to be looking to the future of this program, the Farmers Market Promotional Program funding, I think it changed a little bit, the name, but I think that grant is open right now. And if anybody's interested in talking more about that, we at the ECH are definitely interested in seeing what people have to say about it. And even though we are still going through strategic planning and haven't gotten the final results from that yet, we are by no means taking our name out of the rung of people that are involved in these things. So please feel free to drop me a line at any time. The funding for this particular program ends in March, so anything that had happened will be over by then, but we'll still be talking about it. So that is what I have to say about that. I'm not sure if Rob from Home of Economy had a chance to talk earlier, question mark?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, awesome, because he was one of the other organizations that we had talked through, and wanted to spotlight the initiative of wanting to play their role in the farmers market scene and tap into the existing resources. But anyways, that's about all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinn. Christine, I'm glad you were able to join us. Was hoping you might have an update on recent activities from Department of Ag, local food conference. I only made it to a couple sessions, so I wasn't able to share the rest of the conference. I told the group about the farm to school session and the SNAP session.
Sure thing. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm jumping on late here. I had another meeting I was in, and it just finished up. So basically, overall, I think the conference went pretty smoothly. We received feedback from everybody because we handed out little sheets at the end that basically just asked, suggestions for next year, things like that. And I did get a couple calls from a few people just giving suggestions and stuff like that for next year. But overall, I feel like everybody was pretty happy with like the sessions that were offered and the turnout. Let's see here. I don't really have anything too earth-shattering from the conference aside from I think it would be really good for you guys to kind of just keep the conference in mind as you move forward with your other projects and you work with some outside entities, things like that, just for ideas for next year. I know I did have a couple people, we had like a high tunnel basic, for example, session, and I had quite a few producers not attend that because a lot of them that are kind of established already either have decided they're not doing that or they already have existing high tunnels. So just things like that, if I can get a better idea of like how to serve you guys with the sessions better, I think would be good for next year.
Can you tell us about the recordings?
I'm sorry?
I thought you said at the conference you recorded the sessions.
We sure did. We had Cat Communications come and they recorded every single session. And most of it was just the sessions. They recorded all of that. So right now we just got the videos from Cat actually yesterday. So our communication specialist is working on uploading them all to YouTube. So I'm hoping by at the latest since I'm not the one that's putting them on YouTube, we can have them up by the end of the week, hopefully, for people to look at. But I'll be sharing stuff on social media and on our website. Obviously, I'm going to turn our conference page into like a landing page just for conference resources after it's all over. So I know some of you spoke at the conference, like Quinn, so you can rewatch and critique yourself if you want once I get those up. Let's see here. That was pretty much about it from the conference. We're kind of brainstorming on what we plan to do next year. I'm not sure if we're going to keep it necessarily Pride of Dakota or Local Foods together, or if we'll branch off from each other and then we'll come back together eventually. I don't know. We've tossed a lot of ideas around the office, so we'll just kind of see. But if anybody has suggestions, I would absolutely love to hear. Let's see here. As for other activities going on in the Department of Agriculture, we are working on our Beef to School video. We went out yesterday and met with the guys from iBand and did some interviews and visited their farm. We've got probably like 4 or 5 other sources and people we're working with on that. So it's going to be a pretty, hopefully well-rounded video once it's done. Let's see, the video project. We got our grants that we're wrapping up. I just wrapped up our hummus kit grant. Let's see.
What was the hummus kit grant?
That was something Jamie actually started several years ago. And basically, we've done this in the past through our specialty crop block grant program, where we send out educational resources to students and stuff. So we'll be sending out kits to teachers across the state for them to assemble recipes with their students. So like a hummus recipe with their students.
Okay.
So that was a lot. Let's see here. Yeah, it's just a lot of video shoots and a lot of other stuff in the next couple months here. Yeah, but that's all I got for you guys. I don't have too much else.
Well, I was also hoping we could get an update on the Farmers Market and Growers Association. And it doesn't look like Anne is back, but Janelle, you said you're on the board, and Christine, perhaps you participated in their annual meeting. So would the two of you be able to provide some updates?
I did not actually stay for that, so I won't be able to provide anything. But I know Ann and I have talked about moving forward with some stuff, and I do need to call Jared about something unrelated to that. So yeah, your guess for what was discussed is as good as mine. I know Mary's the new president of the association, and then Danielle Mickelson is the vice president. What else?
Maybe Janelle has some updates.
I wasn't able to attend the conference at all myself either, but we did have a strategic planning meeting last week, and yeah, Jared Stahl is our interim person right now, and yeah, Mary Podol is president and Danielle's vice, and we didn't get very far in our strategic planning, but we're going to meet again sometime soon.
Okay. Great. Anne mentioned something about that you guys are going to do the grants again. And so waiting for more concrete information about that and links.
Yes, I did not get no minutes from the meeting that they had at the conference, so I only got little tidbits of what they're looking at, but yeah, I can't remember when they said we were having our next meeting. We usually get just an email shot to us to set up a time, so that's about all I know. It will be in the newsletter, though. I do know that.
Okay, great. Well, glad that they have an interim director on board and that there's some strategic planning happening. And Karen had to hop off, but she did put in the chat that she says, I fully believe that partners outside of growers can help. And one of those people can also look to the arts in addition to business and maybe invite others to participate in meetings and conferences. So let me so farm to school, as I said, Claire and Rhonda did a great presentation at the conference. We also recently had a farm to school webinar that was very well attended. And we have the recordings for that posted on our website at farms.org/webinars, as well as a resource document for anyone who's interested in farm to school activities. What I gleaned from that session at the conference is that statewide, we would really benefit from a dedicated farm to school coordinator who could do the things that Claire's has been doing in the Bismarck community. It takes some time to build those relationships with food service directors, and the farmers themselves don't always have that time to really cultivate those relationships because they're busy growing the food. And so I see an opportunity, maybe a grant funded opportunity through some partnerships. If we could find some grant funding and hire a person, I think having someone to be that go-between between farmers and school food service staff, as well as doing the legwork for advocating for farm to school, educating people on why it's important and how it benefits communities and children would really move our farm to school efforts forward in the state. So did anybody else have any updates or comments before we move forward? We did also have a grant collaboration session a few weeks back, and I've put the link to our grant collection resource document in the chat. If you are thinking about, if you have a project in mind and looking for funding, check out that document. There's a number of different funders, including some that had never occurred to me before. For example, if you have a school garden project or a community garden and you need a shade awning, I believe it's like the National Association of Dermatologists provides small grants to purchase shade coverings for community gardens. So take a look at that document, and if you're looking for assistance or looking for collaborators, shoot me an email. This group is a great place to find those connections. We are also still looking for a coordinator. We have an AmeriCorps Vista position that would help coordinate this group, help move us forward. You may have noticed, for example, our Facebook posts have been kind of lean lately. I feel bad that I don't get the reminders and agendas out to you until the last minute, and that's because we don't have any staff at the moment. So I would, if you think of anyone, young or old, someone who cares about local foods and wants to help the movement. It is a paid position, although it's a service. So it's about $1,000 a month, but there's an education award at the end and some additional benefits like a relocation allowance. This is a job that can be done remotely and has a very flexible schedule. So there's a link to the position description in the agenda, and please help us spread the word. And one final reminder that we do have our webpage at ndlocalfood.org. And there's a place there for member updates. So if you have something you want to share with the group, make sure you have a login on the website, which is really easy to create. And then you can post your updates. I think we've all, it's been a while since any of us, including farms and NDL-FDA board members like me, have made any updates on that page. So just trying to keep it top of mind for everyone, so that we can keep everybody in the loop about upcoming programs. Any final updates or comments? Well,
No. I was just gonna say, no.
I appreciate everybody joining today. And I look forward to our strategic planning session on April 11th. And I will be in touch with everybody about that session. So have a great afternoon, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.